Share sponsor Louis Nishmas. I'm back with Shalom Nabas Yitzchok. We're holding in Bava Daf Tetzayin. We're starting the Mishnah in Daf Tezvovim base. The Mishnah says Chamisho Tamim v'Chamisho Muadim. There are 5 Tamim, 5 that are on the list of Tam, which means they're not Muad, they pay half an Ezek, and there are 5 Muadim. Now the simple way to learn the Mishnah is as follows. The behema is not muad, meaning it's tam. Loy ligach, to gore. Loy ligoif, to push. Loy loshuk, and not to bite. Loy livut, to sit down. Loy livut, and not to kick. These are the 5 tam. Now, the next part of the Mishnah, the simple understanding, the way the Gemara starts with. The next is the list of the 5 muadim, which is Hashem moed is lechol asarorilo. The shame eats what's normal for it to eat. Haregel moed is lishbor b'derech elucha. The regel is muad when it walks and it tramples on things. The shor muad, when a shor after 3 times of doing keren becomes muad. The shor mazik b'shus hanizak. When a shor goes into shus hanizak, it's also pays right away in his shor. There's no tamus. As the Gemara is going to say, sounds like a tarif that we learned before. The Adam is considered to be muad. Here's a 5. Now we have another list. So right away you can ask why you need another list. You said 5 muad. Now we have another list of muad. Hazev, the wolf. Hari, the lion. Hadoiv, the bear. Hanomer, which is translated as leopard. Va'bardos, the one is going to speak about what is it. Va'anachosh, which is a snake. That's 6. Areinu muadim. When they're trained, if they were trained to be normal, to act and to be controlled, so then they're not muad. But the snake is muad forever. So a snake is always muad. You can't train a snake. So, as we mentioned, the way we read the Mishnah, simple understanding: 5 tamim, or the 5 cases of keren, 5 muadim, another 5 cases, and then we have 6 cases about the animals. Now, it's interesting to point out, when we say that animals are muad, are they muad to do what? If you look at Rashi, Rashi says, Hareinu muadim afilu b'neshicha, even biting, u'bechol nezikin any nezek, u'mishalim b'alim shal nezek shalom. Rashi is mashra that they're muad for everything. They're muad for every single thing that happens. They're muad, even something that's not normal for them to do. And that's how the Rambam brings la halacha. The Tosis in the next Talmud, it's printed next Talmud, it's on the Mishnah. He learns, as we'll see in the Gemara, that no, it depends. If it's normal for them to do it, so then it's muad. If not, it's a keren. So there's a big machlekes over here how to understand the wild animals when they do something which is not normal for them. One way, just to put that into perspective, and we'll use it as we get through the daf, is the idea that the question is, what is the definition of keren? How do you define keren? Is keren mean something which is mishune, which is strange? So then it should apply to wild animals as well, right? That should be keren mishune. Or that by keren has to do with something which is kavanoso lahazik, when he has the intention to do a nezek, or maybe a little different. The way the Even Hazel says in the Rambam, we'll see in a moment. Maybe we should see that first. Because we spoke about snake, right? Tosis brings, come on, that snake does not enjoy, has no enjoyment. That's a Gemara in Tiny. The Gemara in Tiny says that the host of all the animals come to the snake and say, why are you so, why are you bite? You don't enjoy it. And that's a mashal to the Baal Shanara, who speaks to Shanara even though he has no benefit. So now, the snake doesn't enjoy. So what is it? Tosis says it's a keren if you don't enjoy it. The Rambam learns it's not a keren. The Tosis learns that even though it does not enjoy, it's still considered to be shame. That's what the Rambam learns. That's what Tosis learns. The Rambam learns it's not shame, it's keren. Why? So the Even Hazel explains, the machlekes is like this. The Tosis learns the definition of keren is when something is mishune, is out of the ordinary. A nachash is normal for it to bite, even though it has no enjoyment. So even though it doesn't have enjoyment, it's still going to be shame and not keren. The Rambam learns no. The definition of Shane is enjoyment. The definition of Regel is walking normally. Anything else goes into Karen. And that'll apply to all these animals. These animals, they're wild animals, yes. There are normal ways they conduct things. Things are not so normal. But the definition will not be, they're not considered to be Hano lezeko. Sorry, not considered to be that it's Hano of eating, and it's not considered to be Darko to walk. Mimela, according to the Rambam, is going to be under the category of Karen, and Efsha the Rashi goes that same way. So it comes out, just the opening thing is, how do you define Karen, what is included in it? According to the Rambam, everything basically is Karen, except when you have enjoyment of eating, or you have the normal way of walking. And according to this, it's the opposite. Karen is only something which is out of the ordinary. Everything else will be included in Shen and Regel. So I think more. The Ketani Shen, where is lechol? It says the Shen is, it's mu'ah to eat. You have to say, meaning you have to pay Nezik Shalom. What do you pay Nezik Shalom and Shen? Only in Chatzar Nezik. If you Rishus Rabim, there's no Shen. The Ketani Behemo, where there's a Shalom Kuli, it says Behemo is not mu'ah in that case, meaning the beginning of the Mishnah, regarding the Karen, when they bites, kicks, etc., not mu'ah, obeys only half an Nezik. Mani Rabbanani, that's the Chur Rabbanon, the Amri Mishuni Karen Mechatzar Nezik, Chatzar Nezik, and Mishaleh. That's Rabbanon. Let's say you pay half an Nezik in Chatzar Nezik. Ema Seifa, look at the next part of the Mishnah. When we mentioned the list of the 5 mu'adim, one of them was Shara Mu'ad, Shara Mazik, B'Shus Nezik, V'Adam. So these 3, what is the second one in this 3? Shara Mazik, B'Shus Nezik, it's a mu'ad. Meaning right away it's a mu'ad when it goes into B'Shus Nezik. Asal Rabitav, that goes like a Tafram. Tor Mishune Karen Mechatzar Nezik, Nezik Shalom with the Mishal. That's the Rabitav that we learned earlier, that Rabitav learns that even a goring, which usually you pay only half, if it's in Rishus Nezik, you pay full. So, the beginning of the Mishnah is Rabbanon, because we learned that Chatzar Nezik, it's Chatzar Nezik. And the end of the Mishnah is Rabitav. Same way, Reish Rabbanon, Tzir Rabitav, and it's a Stira. Beginning of Rabbanon, and afterwards Rabitav. So the more yes, the Homer Shmuel to Revudo, Shirna, either it's a nickname or a smart person. Shoik Mastisin, leave the Mishnah alone. Fatah was Shoik after me. Reish Rabbanon, Sefer Rabitav. Yeah. Beginning is Rabbanon, Sefer Rabitav, it's 2 different mandorim. Don't try to answer the Mishnah a different way. We're going after Zen, Kula, Rabitav. That's all Rabitav. The beginning is talking about, you see, it's all Rabitav. If it's all Rabitav, I explain the beginning of the Mishnah. The beginning of the Mishnah said that you chayav Chatzar Nezik. So I'll tell you the case of the beginning of the Mishnah. We're talking about in a Chatzar miyuchedes lepeirus le'echad mehem. It is miyuchet for peirus to one of them, meaning only one could put fruits inside. And one can bring the short. Regarding Shane, it's miyuchet to one, it's Chatzar Nezik. It belongs only to one of them. They both can be there to Shusarab. But similar to what we learned earlier in Daf Dalet, Toys points out what he points out over there. Toys says, no, the Girsa is wrong. It should be why? So he says like this. And this goes back to the svar, to the logic. What's the logic? What's the reasoning that Shor is patur of Shusarab? How do you understand it? Choro, simple understanding is, because if I'm allowed to be in Shusarab, what do you want from me? I'm allowed to be here. You put fruits in Shusarab, that's not my fault. So it says Taisis, so here, if the Shor is allowed to be here, if it's Lazel Shvarim, so what do you want from them? They hate the fruits. So that's what Taisis says, nobody can put ox inside, and one can put the shame. The question is, why is not considered to be Chatzar Nezik? So that's a question according to Taisis that we should even discuss it. Maybe it talks about times you can put in, times not. How do you explain our girsa? Our girsa, what does it mean? So in one way to say it says, I don't care about the fact that Lazel Shmoim, which means they both can bring in Shoim, even though the Svara doesn't work. Now you would think that based on the Svara, based on your logic, if you could be in here, you can't tie it against me. But maybe once we said that one of them has the Paris, by definition, it's considered to be Chatzar Nezik, even though the Svar does not apply over here. But another way that Rishonim say is very simple. When we make an agreement, Reuben and Shimon divide a field. And Reuben says, Reuben can put in his fruits, and both can put the shvarim. It's implied in the agreement that even though you can put your shvarim, you're not allowed to let your shvarim eat the fruits. If I'm allowed to put the fruits, you have to make sure your shvar doesn't eat it. That's the shot. Okay. I said this Shmuel to Yazvid, Homer Li Mimatzas Mukas Lokura Tafur. You say that our mission is of Tafur? Haktani Shen Mued is Leechol is a roilo. It says the Shen is Mued to eat. What's normal for it? Roily in Roilai. Only so which is Roilai. The Tafur, however, Mishuni Kebachataniz like Nezik Shalom Mishalim. According to Tafur, when the Mishnah says if you eat your Roilai, it's shame. Mash if you don't eat the Roilai, pay only half a Nezik. According to Tafur, you always pay Nezik Shalom. And Toys points out, not only pay Nezik Shalom, you pay me Aliyah. So there's no difference if it's Shane or Karen. It's all going to have the same halacha. Mash the Mishnah is differentiate between Shane and Karen. Elul Rabbanim. This is about the whole Mishnah's Rabbanim. Hi, so what about the problem in the Mishnah? So now we go back to the understanding of the Mishnah. We said, the Mishnah says Chamisha Tamim. There's 4 Tamim. 5 Tamim. Then it says Chamisha Modim. Who are the Chamisha Modim? So the way we read the Mishnah, the way the Gemara understood till now the Mishnah, the Chamisha Modim are the next list. Now the Gemara is going to change it. No. You know what's Chamisha Modim? These Tamim, when they become Mod, the 5 that we mentioned, the Negicho, Negifa, Neshicha, Revitza, all these 5, if you do it 3 times, become Mod. That's what the Gemara says. That's what you're missing. Chamisha Tamim, there's 5 there Tam. Vim Huadu, meaning if they became Mod, Chamisha Modim, they become Mod. Shen Beregel Modim Tchilos, so Shen Beregel starts at the beginning. When it says later, Shen Beregel is a separate category. Shen Beregel is B'chotzar Nizak. So according to this, Shor Maz B'Shus Nizak is not a separate category. It just tells you when is Shein Chayav. So we're going to learn the Shor Maz B'Shus Nizak. The Gemara is going to speak about it. Mashra is a separate category. The Gemara is going to elaborate about later. We talked about a category like this. So then the Gemara is going to say Ketzad how to elaborate. We didn't speak about it. My Ketzad. So you can't say that Shor Maz B'Shus Nizak is only to explain Shen Beregel. So we change it a little bit. There's 5 tam. If they become more, they become more. V'shen Beregel Modim B'Tchilasa. V'zeu Shor Mod. That's Shor Mod. Kama. Shor Maz B'Shus Nizak. What is that? That's a separate category. Shor Maz B'Shus Nizak. There's other Modim. What is that? Hazeh, Vari, the wolf and the lion, the dove and the bear and the bardalos, and the which we'll see in a moment, the number, the leopard, the nochash and the snake. Tanya having most of the braces like that. Chamisha tamim v'muod or chamish tamod. There's 5 tam, and they become muod. They themselves become muod. V'shem regel muod b'chilasam v'zeu shor muod. That's shem regel. V'shor amad v'shus anizim v'chuz tav rabban, a separate category. V'yesh muodim achik yitzah be'il hazeh v'ari adov v'anam v'bardas v'nochash. So exact same thing we said before. Remember, some bring it as a question, as a stira. You say 5 tam, 5 mod. What about the last 6? That's the question we mentioned in the Mishnah. You say 5 tam, 5 mod, then you have another 6. What about them? What about all these? You have to say what we just said before. These 5 become mod. That's the mod, not the rest of the list. That's another category. There's other ones which are the same category. Now, let's just go back to the Mishnah. Let's read the Mishnah inside. There's 5 tam, and they will be mod. What is it? These are the things that are tam, but if you do 3 times, you become mod. That's mod right away. That's not a list, it's just a new category. And this is Shor Mod. You take away the Vov, that's Shor Mod. Now, Shor Maz B'Shus Nizak, it's another category which we'll discuss later. Those Adam. And then you have a Zev, Ari, Adov, and Rabban, then you have the other 6 animals that we discussed later. Very good. Says the Gemara, the animal is not normal for it to sit. If it's large jars. If it's small ones, or if it's normal for it to sit on small jars. Famous ways to walk normally, and to break, and to crush. So the man and a behemoth. So you see, it is normal for it to crush. It's normal to crush while it's walking on the side as it's walking, but not to sit in it. So no right. Don't say dafka large jars, small jars. It is normal. Even small jars is not normal. We just learned that when it walks, it does crush. Yeah, similar answer. We're talking about minatzah, meaning while it's walking, not sitting. Something as a steer. We say he doesn't sit down, but we do see that it does crush. These are large jars, these are small jars. Look at the answer also. This is walking, this is sitting. So more just brings three versions of the same idea. Okay. Says more as Zev Vari, we have the wolf, the lion, etc. And one of the list is Baidos. My Baidos. What is Baidos? Nafruso. It is Nafruso. My Nafruso. What is Nafruso? Apple. It is apple. Mir added to the list Savua, which is a hyenas. Was a snake. Apple. And we said the hyenas is apple. So you see that apple is not Bardalos, because Bardalos, we said before, in the original list. There's a female and there's a male. Each one has a different name. Titania, as the Tzavur Zocher, Tzavur Zocher after 7 years becomes a bat. Another type of bat. It's a type of plant. Becomes a thorn. Shade becomes a shade. Right? The shading. That's what happens to that. So the Gemara says, according to the first shot of Rashi, because the Zohar changes, that's why it has so many names. So we call it Bardalos, we call it Appa, we call different names, and then what Ramir added was the Nikiv. Now, this is obviously needs more explanation. It's very hard to understand what does it mean after 7 years it changes. But we'll leave the Gemara as is for that. I want to focus on the next line of the Gemara, which also speaks about change. The Gemara says, Shidro Shel Adam, the spine of Adam, after 7 years it becomes a snake. That's only if he doesn't bow down and moed. What's the meaning of this? Why does the spine become a snake? And what does it do with moed? Obviously, it doesn't mean literally. It means there's a conceptual idea. What is it? So the Maral says The Maral says, the pshat is, when a person is korea b'moedim, let's start like this. What is the nochash? The nochash, the word says, he had a skifas koima. He would go around and standing straight. The only two creatures in the world that are going standing straight is a nochash and an adam. Why are these two? Says the Maral, that's the malchus. The adam is a king on the tachtonim, and the nochash is the king on all the animals. The more there in Tzorita says, it was supposed to be the king. But the nochash used that skifas koima against HaKadosh Baruch Hu to convince Chava to eat from Eitzadas. So therefore, his klala was not he lost his skifas koima, and he's the lowest animal. He goes on the sand. And Adam, if he takes without his moedim, it means he's giving his skifas koima to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He's bound down. He said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, everything I have is from you. Moedu misfadeh, he does baldim, everything is you. So then he's not a nochash. If he doesn't do that, meaning he doesn't subject himself to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he feels that he's the strong one, then he has the same din of a nochash, and he won't get up with Chias HaMesim, as Tosfos brings it on the base. Just they had it. I mentioned in the Shur Machshava, that Tosfos brings the Gemara in Brachos that says they have to moitim, a person has to pick himself up like a nochash. So the Pnei Menachem, the Ger Rebbe asks, what do you mean you have to pick himself like a nochash? We're saying here they do moedim now nochash. So he brings that the moedim is to be moedim to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to say thank you to HaKadosh Baruch Hu for everything we have. A person who says the real thank you to Hashem, after he bows down, he realizes that he still didn't say thank you enough. He's still a nochash. He picks himself up, but he still feels him still a nochash. Like a nochash who doesn't back it toif. So that's the idea over here in our Gemara. This is the more Olamar. Ramir added the hyenas, and they have to design on the base. Also the snake. We said the nochash is not part of the list because the other ones can be trained. This cannot be trained. So you're right. Tani nochash. Don't say afa nochash. He's not part of the list. It's a standalone thing. When you have a line which was Rabim, Doras Velchal, if it did not kill the animal, it just cut off the animal, it tore the animal, Potter. Tar Velchal, if it killed the animal and then ate, Velchal Chayav. Why? It's expensive more. That's the normal way for a lion to kill an animal. It doesn't kill it. It just tears it apart and eats it up. That's shame. But to go and kill the animal, it's not normal for a lion to kill. So, you want to tell me treif is not normal? It says in the pasuk, Aryeh Toreif b'dei Gurusov. The Aryeh kills for the small lions. So, yeah, he does it for his children. He doesn't do it. He kills for his children. It's part of the pasuk that he chokes for the female lion. Yes, for the female lion he kills. He does fill up his holes with dead animals. Yeah, for storage. The place where he lives. He kills for noise. In other words, what is the Gemara saying? That lion does kill if he needs to bring to his family, to store it. But for himself, it won't kill. It will eat it alive. So about time, it says in the Brayso, when an animal, if it killed an animal and ate it, so you see clearly that you can kill him. We talk about a lion too. We're talking about they did not eat, they did not kill to eat, they killed to leave it for later. So it says he ate. She changed her mind and decided to eat. It says the Gemara, how do you know what was the original thought and the next thought? For the Shmuel, when Shmuel says that if she killed, it's not considered to be shame, why? Maybe she changed her mind. You have to read it with a break. It killed and it stored, it took away it out. Or where he ate right away without killing. When Shmuel is talking about is a lion who's trained. You can train that lion. Then you say there's a difference what it does. It's not normal for it. So also when it tears out alive, it's also a problem of carrying. Hello there, Ravina Lava Shmuel. You're right. Ravina not speaking about Shmuel. It says that in the Brayso. In other words, the reason why it's Chayav Chatzinezek, with the case before, Moses says, the case of going into Rishus Nizek, let's talk about he did something not normal. He should be half an Nezek. He did it 3 times. It's mut. So why it's in the list of shame? Can be told the Karen by the Midniya? Should it be listed in the list of Karen? It's more kasha. So to explain that, Mishnah talk about Ba'avi Tarbus. It's hard to say. It's Pasha not talking about Ba'avi Tarbus, and it's Chayav on the Shin. Now, in other words, he wanted to say the Ravina, the Rashi says, Ravina is going to say the Brayso can speak about also about a train line, not only not a train line. Now, going back to the discussion we had in the beginning of the daf, we learned, do we say by wild animals, there's a normal way for them to eat, and not a normal way that it's considered to be carried. So, of course, Shmuel clearly says that if a lion kills, so it's not normal, it's a carrot. So clearly that's the case. But the Rambam, as we mentioned in the Mashmos of Rashi, is that a wild animal is kind of always. So let me explain, because the Rambam learns that the Gemara is doiche Shmuel. Shmuel said it, and the Gemara asked the question, and then the Gemara disagrees with Shmuel. The Gemara ran around from a brisa. Even when you kill an animal, you still, it doesn't matter how the wild animal killed, it's still going to be considered a normal imuot, and you chayav nezek shalom. There's no mishum. If so, but what is it? So that's where you mentioned the Mishnah of an Hazel. An Hazel into the Rambam, it's Karen. Karen Muetis. Why is it Karen? Because it's not Hanol Ezekon, it's not walking. The Rambam's definition of Karen is anything that is not Hanol of eating and not walking normally is automatically Karen. Taisus learns differently. Taisus learns that of course there will be Karen over here, Karen Tama, if it was Meshune, and if it's normal, that's regular shame. So the Mishnah. What's the difference with Tam Lemud? The Shetam Mishal Chatzin Ezek pays half an Ezek. Migufoy. From his own body, meaning not more than what it's worth. If it's worth 100, they don't pay more than 100. Umud mishal nezik shal. Umud pays a full nezik. Mina aliyah, from the aliyah. What's aliyah? Says the Gemara. My aliyah, my blazon b'me'ulu sheb'nechosa. The best field. V'chen u'aymer v'yishkin Chizkiyahu mavoiso. Chizkiyahu died. V'yikveru b'ma'ale kivri b'nei David. They put him in the best burial place of Beis David. The best of Mishpacha, my new David Shlomo. So Chizkiyahu has the level to be David Shlomo. Different explanations. Why? Either because there was a question about him. People thought maybe he was in Russia, so to show that he was a big tzaddik, he was buried by David Shlomo. Then Goyen explains over here that Chizkiyahu is in the middle of Malchus Beis David, and he was the one who got the highest level. So Chizkiyahu goes and is buried by David and Shlomo. Another pasuk, this pasuk speaks about a different melech. As Rashi says, also Melech Yehuda. They buried him in his burial place in the city of David. Put in a place which is full of good smell. What is there? Many types of besamim. As besamim, whatever you smell, it's so good. Bring the person dezimo, so it's a very strong smell. Now the Gemara mentions, we spoke about, we mentioned something in the name of Rabbi Lazar, so we mentioned this as well. Kikara shuchal lakteni, or Paul told directly, Yirmiyah complains that they put a pit to his legs. They were choshing him with a zoyna. Shmuel Mechmani over shechashdu meish zish. Choshim meish zish. Bishman over shechashdu meish zoyna nichtiv ki shucha muka zoyna. Zoyna is called a shucha, it's considered to be a pit. Haman over shechashdu meish zish, the choshim meish zish. My shucha. Says more after Eshes Ish, Minavka Bechal Zoyna. Eshes Ish also has Zoyna. Meaning, Zoyna means this. Visual Domish Chashdu Eshes Ish, Du Cheshem Eshes Ish, and Dichtiv Atosh Medata, let's call it Tosomalai Lamovis. You know that they want to kill me, meaning because Eshes Ish, someone is Boaz Ish, and they have 18, they'll bring it to base and kill him. Helaman Domish Chashdu Zoyna Mai Lamovis, what does it mean to kill? Well, not that they actually bring it to base team, but Shishlichu Leberti. They put him into a well of teeth. And he would just die there. Now, what's the all the Mepharshim, Mashal, the Maharal, the Yoka point out, the Choshed Yirmiyah, that he was Eshes Ish, it says also Moshe Rabbeinu the same thing. What's the idea? So the very Mashal says it because Moshe Rabbeinu and Yirmiyah were now with their wives. So therefore, they were Choshed, they were somebody else. The Maharal says a little deeper than that. He says like this. Moshe Rabbeinu and Yirmiyah, or Tzibur Dikidim, they're great Yidim. So they connected to Am Yisrael. Moshe Rabbeinu is called Baila de Matronisa, the husband of the Matronisa, which refers to the Gila HaKadosh Baruch Hu that comes through Am Yisrael. So Moshe and Yirmiyah connect to a klolistic thing, something which is not so private, not so specific. The Rishonim perceive that to mean, oh, you're klali, it means you're with Zayna, with many women. But the oimik is that the special connection that Moshe and Yirmiyah and their Milo had with Am Yisrael. Yirmiyah had a klola. The people that caused them to suffer, it says that they will be nichshel, and the anger will be by them. What does it mean? I feel even though when they do tzedakah, make them give it to people that don't need the money, so they won't get for that reward. I want them to do tzedakah, not to get reward for it. Very strong word. What's chat? So also, what is the pasuk? You put it in the anger that they won't even be able to take away the anger. So the way it brought down, the Chidah brings that the ma'ila of tzedakah is it takes away midas adin and turns it to midas chesed or to rachamim. You can take judgment away. So that's what a Yirmiyah is dominating. Let your anger stay. I don't want these people to have the ability to take away your midas adin. They should get punished the way they deserve. What's the idea that they will give tzedakah to someone who's not mukarim? So the Kuvis Biurim, the Recholim Masron brings over here. It's like this: a person sometimes does a mitzvah. He had a good thought of a mitzvah, even though he did not do a mitzvah. He learned Mesechus Kiddushin. They had a kishbuk mitzvah machshav tov l'maisa. This machshav is good enough. Some people they do a ma'isa of mitzvah. Even they don't have a good machshav, but the mitzvah itself. Here, when you give tzedakah to a person who doesn't have, is not deserving, there's no ma'isa tzedakah. These people are Rishonim, so they don't have a good machshava either. So you're saying the machshava they don't have. Let's make sure they don't have also maises. They're not going to have neither. They will get no reward. Let's conclude with what Rabbi Zusha Manapoli says. Rabbi Zusha Manapoli says the opposite. It says Yirmiyah said these people are such Rishonim, they can have no schusim. What are we going to do for them? Kayadua. When a person gives tzedakah and he checks out who he's giving to too much, so also in Shemayim they check about him to see if he deserves. Says Yirmiyah, let them give tzedakah to people they don't deserve. So they'll have a schus that in Shemayim they won't look at them so carefully. Maybe that will be the way for them to get out. According to Zusha and Apollo, Yirmiyah cares about the Rishonim. He wants to make sure that they're not going to fall, that they're not going to have any stumble and a way to give them a schus. This is not like Tosis, because Tosis says there wasn't Yisrael, so, but without Tosis, Echor is talking about Am Yisrael, so then it will work very nicely for Zusha and Apollo. We see how it goes,